Have you ever wondered if it was possible to visit the afterlife without actually dying? The saying goes that you can only go to heaven or hell if you are dead, but I want to let you know that this is not entirely true. You can indeed have a brief visit to the afterlife and meet your dead friends, relatives, and sometimes even meet God. Sounds cool, right? But however, there is one catch. It's not exactly easy, as a lot of you probably could have guessed. And I want to let you know that many have returned changed as individuals. Some even choose to make their own lives afterwards. Many have lost their sanity, and only a small percentage remained what you would call okay in terms of societal standards. In fact, I got a journal entry later down the road. Even though all refused to describe what they saw, I'm actually fairly different. I have been both to heaven and hell several times, and in this article I'm going to describe how to visit hell and meet some of your dead relatives that have sinned throughout their moral lives. For the journey, you will need to be a well-rounded individual with a strong mentality. Otherwise, you'll not be able to cope with what you see. Most importantly, you will need to have killed somebody. That is right. You'll need to at least kill one person in your life before making this transition. First, you head over to your nearest church from 12 to 1 a.m. on a Sunday night. If the door is locked, gain entry somehow. If it's impossible, try the second closest church. I'm pretty sure there's one clumsy pastor out there. Once inside, approach the altar, kneel down in a praying position. Then, make sure you absolve yourself of any sort of tone. You have to really make yourself sound monotone, and repeat the following scripture clearly. If you did this correctly, you should fall asleep instantly and wake up in your room. On the edge of your bed should be a piece of paper. On that piece of paper, there should be a link to a website. This link can vary from person to person. It really depends on how you lived your life, who you killed, and in general, what kind of person you are. Find an old computer. Make sure there is no internet connection whatsoever. And that is an important rule to understand. There better be goddamn no way to make any sort of communication to the outside world as you do this. You don't want any horrifying demons imagining, well, you know, knowing your locations. Boot up the computer, load up the internet browser, and enter the link. Despite the lack of internet connection, you should be directed to a black page with a hyperlink in the middle stating your name and date of death. Whatever you do, do not click on that hyperlink. Instead, save the page and view the HTML in a notepad. Scroll to the bottom of the document and there should be an address. Make sure you write this down. Once finished with the computer, take it as far away from you as you can and destroy it. Never return to the church you visited ever again. It's now hallowed ground, and should you offend God, you may find yourself dealing with some unpleasant misfortune. A week later, visit the address you wrote down. Should be an old abandoned warehouse that you could have sworn was never there before, or perhaps you do remember it in some sort of past life. Maybe it's not a warehouse, but in fact, it's a old childhood building that you remember. Maybe a friend's house that moved away a long time ago. Or perhaps it'll just be an open field with a small shack in the middle of it. Either way, there will be something at that address you wrote down. Do not enter this building, however, no matter how tempting it may be. Instead, knock on the door exactly 6 times. If any more or less, you'll be greeted by the devil himself, and you will be damned to a place far worse than hell. If all is well, an old man should open the door and hand you a blank CD with the words Hell.EXE written onto it. Isn't Satan lovely? Man, he's such a good person to actually, you know, try to convert these new rituals to meet our new sentiments of life. However, as you may imagine, someone like that is still a little behind on the times. Oh, you'll know. Satan.exe may be converted into an iTunes file later down the road. Who the fuck knows? Run this onto another PC you're willing to sacrifice. Make sure this isn't something that you intend to use afterwards, because this PC will not be able to be used properly, with no inward or outward communication. On the CD should be two files, Diablo.jpg and Hell.exe. Do not fucking view Diablo.jpg. Come on, I want to have a little fun. It will cause you to rip your own eyes out. Don't worry. It does not have a thumbnail, so you should be, quote, fine. Trust me, everyone else who's seen it has met some fairly gritty ends. Just run Hell.exe. Instantly, your mother should start flickering, and gruesome pictures of her mutilated corpse of your dead relatives should flash quickly on and off on your screen. Then, a window should pop up with two buttons, one saying come, one saying leave. Now, right now is your last chance to turn back, but why would you want to turn back? You've already killed someone to get this far. Did you really let something as a little leave button let you deter yourself from seeing the luxurious views of hell? I think not. If you want to visit hell, click come. If not, click leave, and you'll fall unconscious and wake up in your bedroom with no memory of Hell.exe even existing, and all evidence of its existence will be lost, and you'll just have to cope with the fact you murdered someone for no reason. If you choose to come, the window will close, and the computer will spontaneously combust along with the CD. Do not leave your room you're in. Just let the flames spread until the heat knocks you unconscious. You should wake up in a hospital bed in a dark room with absolutely no clothes on. But do not get out of the bed. Just lay there, for after about 5 minutes, two people should enter the room. I cannot be any clearer on this. Keep your eyes tight and shut. I will repeat this, because some people are idiots. Keep your eyes tight and shut. When they approach your bed, if you look at them, they will rip you into pieces. They're very sensitive in that manner. They will discuss in familiar voices about how unfortunate your death was, and they'll describe it in complete detail. This applies to date of death, and, you know, it will usually have some details like that little date you found on that website we did not cover not just too long ago. Cover your ears if you do not want to hear your own fate. Afterwards, they should leave your room hastily. Wait about 10 minutes, then exit this. Usually some people can get around with 5 minutes or maybe 4 minutes, but do you really want to cut it that close? Especially when you're talking about getting killed. Once you have exited the room, you should be in a very long corridor with the lights out. Start walking down this corridor. Once you have walked for about 3 kilometers, all of the lights should turn on. When this happens, fucking run. Run as fast as you can down the corridor. Run until you reach a fire escape door. Throw yourself out the door with full force. If you do anything less, you will be stuck. And then slam this door shut as soon as you burst through. Now, you want to know what this place is called. You may be thinking, oh man, I must be in hell now. What a lovely little place this is. It's kind of quaint. Maybe I should take a picture, but no. You're now in Limbo. Your surroundings should be a large desert-like wasteland with no signs of life. Search the vast emptiness for a sharp rock or a cliff edge, something you can use to end your own life. You're gonna need to end it now. I mean, of course you didn't want to do it before, but now you have to do it. In order to reach Hell, you need to kill yourself in Limbo. Be cautious when exploring though. Even though this isn't Hell, some monsters are still lurking around. And lurking about in caverns, and they will try to turn you into one of them. They're not as dangerous as the monsters you'll encounter in Hell though. These are just unbaptized souls cast in Limbo to expend an eternity, endlessly, exploring the dark, endless cavern systems. Before killing yourself, you must remove your eyes from their sockets and deafen yourself somehow. You should have only your sense of touch and taste and smell left. You cannot ever see or hear in Hell. If you value your sanity, that is. I mean, a lot of people don't give a shit. They want to see Hell. But you yourself want to keep what makes you, you. So in order to value your sanity, you must remove these properties from yourself. Don't worry though, once you return to the human state, you'll have all of your senses back, I promise. When you leave Hell, simply shout this Latin phrase as loud as you can. I cannot give any more instruction because I feel that if I give away any more information, I'd be putting myself into a risky situation. But there is somebody who recorded their findings, a man named Ian Gowan. He successfully went to Hell and returned, and shortly after he returned, he was brutally murdered, and he brutally murdered most of his families. And then his lifeless corpse is hung. When they found his body, there was this simple note. In this note, he describes what he saw in detail.
If you are listening to this, then I have done the unforgivable. I have killed the people I care about the most in the worst possible manner. But I did it to save them from a fate far worse than a painful death. Last week, I tried to visit my dead father in Hell. He was a raging alcoholic that would come home from the pub and beat me and my mother. He died of liver disease when I was 13. I wanted to see him get what he deserved. What I saw in Hell was something mortals should never experience in their lifetimes. After blinding, deafening, then finally killing myself in that horrid wasteland, I awoke in what felt like a furnace. It was so excruciatingly hot, and I couldn't move. I began to hear voices in my head, and they all said the same thing. Help me. The voices were of many people I knew that had died. The voices grew louder and louder, and my surroundings got hotter and hotter, until everything stopped. I then saw something that I cannot begin to describe. I saw every sin and act of violence, greed, bloodlust, and gluttony played out all at the same time in my head. I felt the worst feeling of, how can I describe it, melancholy I've ever experienced in my life. I felt as if nothing mattered anymore. That's when he arrived. Suddenly my sight returned, but all I could see was darkness. But then something appeared in front of me. I cannot describe its appearance, but all I can say is it was not human or a recognizable being, but it was an entity of pure, unadulterated terror. I knew this was the devil. He talked to me telepathically, not in any recognizable language, but I somehow fully understood what he was saying. He told me the fate of the universe and what I must do. My duty. I owe him my soul. I owe him my soul. I owe him my soul.
I owe him my soul. I owe him my soul. I owe him my soul. I owe him my soul. I owe him my soul.